It's Khalid Greenaway here, licensed counselor, certified life coach. I've been spending a lot of time in couples therapy lately, and one thing that you can't escape from is there's no such thing as collective growth without personal growth, right? So each individual needs to be self aware, dedicated to growing, and being willing to do the work in order to excavate some of the blocks that's going to come up because when no one's looking, there's going to always be challenges as a couple and also in life. I don't know if there's any way to escape challenges in life, period. It's just how you manage them, but how you manage them is going to be key, right? And how you manage your personal emotions on a day to day basis is going to be very key. You have to be able to recognize your own self defense mechanisms, your own personal blocks, biases, things that you project. Because I see couples come into therapy and things are so intense. And what I have to do is ask this particular question. This question right here is what gets them sometime is I said, do you think that person woke up in the morning and they were like, I want to make his or her life miserable today? I know some people might, and you ask some people, they say, well, yeah, I do think he's just trying to make my life miserable. That's few and far in between. That's probably 1 to 2% of the couples. For the most part, if you win, the person wins. But both sides have to see it that way and you have to function as a team. This is why a lot of couples don't understand, or most couples don't understand, that you need to have a vision for yourselves and the relationship. I'm gonna tell you why. It'd be like, I'll give you an example, going into a company and it's a startup. They just started, just open the doors. You said, what are your quarterly goals? What's the mission and vision of the company? Okay, well, do you know what your operations costs are? How are we going to team build? What's your infrastructure? What does that look like? And they said, I don't know, we're going day to day. You're going to be like, this business probably won't be here a year from now, might not even be a month from now or 6 months from now. But most people function in their marriages like that. Most people don't treat their career like that, but some people do. They don't treat other areas of their life like that because there's a a portion of life that we cannot escape, right? Intention and discipline creates freedom. I'll talk to you about what I'm referring to. A lot of people feel trapped within their marriages. They don't have a sense of freedom. They don't know where they end and the marriage, kids, all of it begins. A big part of that is if we step back, they didn't have a plan going in. It's important to be self-aware, have a sense of purpose, passion, have a vision. And then when you get together with the person, hey, this is my plan and my vision. Can you agree to this? This is the direction I'm going. It's okay. But this is the direction I'm going. These are my values. What are yours? A lot of time we have to be able to look past all the googly feelings and things like that when you first meet someone and being able to have like structured conversations or intentional conversations, I should say. But even if now you're there, you can still have these conversations. These are the conversations that we should be having. Even within friendships, sometimes we have to evaluate friendships. Are we going in the same direction? But another important key that you have to have is safety, emotional safety, emotional safety. I said it a couple times because it's easy to become defensive. Why? Because we're all bringing an entire lifetime into every relationship and every interaction that we have. I know because I used to do it in my marriage. Sometimes I still have challenges with it, but because I do personal work, there are things that I do and exercises that I do on a daily basis to help me with that. I'm not going to get into that part too much in the video. I'm creating a course, so you'll hear more about that. But it's being able to manage that. And I do ask myself the question I mentioned to you guys earlier. The question is, did she really get up and her mission in life is to make my life miserable? That's why she's trying to point out something that I did wrong. And then you know the next thing that you can end up doing. Well, I never get anything right. I do it in my head. I don't do it out loud. I've learned to manage that voice. and go based on what she's demonstrated. Her track record is that she's trustworthy, loyal, integral. She wants my best interest. She wants the best interest of others. So I go back to her character and I go back there because it's also a part of being coachable, because in a relationship you're also coaching one another. I know that's hard for people to hear. I know, especially my men, because sometimes we battle with egoic things that that makes it challenging to handle correction at times. I'll go further into that because I think a lot of guys may echo what I have to say, but um it's important to remember that that person has my best interest at heart. And if you question that now, that's another conversation that you two need to have. But emotional safety. So even if you don't feel safe, it's important to be able to communicate that. Even if you're starting to feel anxious, frustrated, anything like that, it's important to be able to say that. That's why I like couples checking in with the statement, hey, how are you feeling today? Not what did you do? We do all types of stuff throughout the day. What's really affecting the course of our life is how we feel about it, because it helps us to redirect. Because a lot of times in life, I've done it before, is just living out a plan that's really meeting other people's expectations and not your own. So I had a projection, right, in my life, and it's fine because we grow in consciousness at multiple different levels. But I had a projection of what success looked like. These were the trappings. This is what happens. And for the most part, unlike a lot of people, I have been somewhat intentional with the direction that I wanted to go in my life, even how I fell in love with human psychology and human behavior. I went in the direction of going to grad school and becoming a therapist and starting a mental health company. But at some point, when I started scaling the company, I lost sight of why I really got into the industry, right? So I started chasing profit margins, stopped seeing people, which brought me so much joy, and put the actual day-to-day things and the sessions into other people's hands, which was a part of where I failed the company and I failed myself. I can look back at it now and it's okay, because I met some tremendous people along the way and I learned a lot. But I could have avoided myself a lot of heartache if I checked in with myself first and foremost, and if I had hard conversations with my wife about how I was feeling, because I was taught that you just be a good soldier, which most men are taught. And I get it, man. You can feel like there's the whole world on your shoulder. I felt a sense of responsibility to provide for my family. I still do. And when you feel things that come up can trigger anxiety and things like that, and then you don't share, you push it down even more, right? Because I didn't want to be viewed as weak. I didn't even share a lot of these things with the men around me, and I can't blame it all on the people around me. A lot of it was me internally and the things that I bottled up. But what we want to do is especially as men, but I've encountered a lot of women that also face these same battles, because they've had to protect themselves because of situations that were less than ideal in childhood, because of toxic environments, vice versa. So it can be either or. So this isn't a gender specific thing. But now that we know as adults, right, we want to make sure that we're doing that work to excavate. We're creating a safe environment for ourselves emotionally. That means we have a good relationship with ourselves, right? I'll give you an example. Most people I encounter are more critical than affirming to themselves, because that's what's been taught, right? You don't want to be arrogant or anything like that. A lot of times in society, confidence is maligned. That's a whole nother topic. But being conscious of that, as I did my own work, I realized I bottled up a lot of things and I repressed a lot of emotions, because it was what I needed to do to excel, because some environments aren't safe environments to do that, even as an adult. So that's something you have to evaluate. But when you get into a marriage, even if you're in a dating relationship right now, you want to make sure you establish a safe space and the person is a safe space for you to be able to do that with. So both people have a responsibility, a safe space for themselves and a safe space collectively. I wanted to end on that because for this particular taping, because what I want people to do is really recognize when they're becoming defensive. If an individual is a safe space for them, if they don't feel like that individual is a safe space, be able to voice that. Some of the dialogue I like to use is I don't like um I feel and you seem is great language to use, or we, not you make me feel or anything like that. It's just your perception of what's happening because we're all seeing life through our filters. So communication helps them to understand your perspective on things instead of just having an internal dialogue with yourself, right? So this starts with individual growth helps collective growth. And I'd also like to think that it helps community growth. Blessings. Have a great day.